Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a full review of the Floyd Rose FRX tremolo system for Gibson and Epiphany guitars. I get asked so many times on my live streams, oh my gosh, is that a SG with a Floyd Rose on the end of it? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? So I'm going to give a full walkthrough of it, a full review of it basically. I've had it for about 2 years. I love it. It does what it needs to do, but there are maybe some drawbacks, some things that you may want to consider before, going all the way, buying one for yourself and doing the full install, because when it comes to it, specifically the locking nut up here, it is a permanent change. You do have to screw two new holes into the headstock in order for the locking nut to be installed. But other than that, the install is pretty seamless. It's not hard, and the actual system itself is not invasive at all to the guitar. So yeah, let's get into it. So number one, does the Floyd Rose FRX system actually work? And the answer is it does. It does exactly what it needs to do. Tuning stability, I find to be fairly good for the most part. If you're going just absolutely crazy, dive bomb after dive bomb, then yeah, at some point it is going to probably start falling out of tune. But for the most part, it pretty much stays in tune it definitely doesn't like pull completely out of tune like it would if you didn't have the locking nut on there. I mean, it's essential if you're going to be doing a lot of crazy stuff outside of, just little flutters and whatnot. If you're looking to do that kind of Van Halen, heavy dive bomb, you're going to want to install that locking nut. And outside of that, there's nothing invasive with it. That locking nut is the only permanent change you're going to have to make to the guitar. But as far as the install itself on the Floyd Rose, it's pretty straightforward. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the bridge and the tailpiece. This works for SGs, Les Pauls, and I'm not sure which other Gibson-like guitars it kind of works on, but I know Les Pauls and SGs are kind of the standard ones people tend to put them on. Epiphone and Gibsons have different screw holes for the bridge and the tailpiece, or different size screw holes, I guess. It does come with both, so if you have a Gibson, it has a separate set of screws for that. If you have an Epiphone, another set of separate screws for those. So whichever one you have, it is compatible with both. From there, again, you basically just fit it in where those two pieces used to go, and Floyd Rose, the man himself, actually has a video here on YouTube doing a full walkthrough of the entire install process. The way I have mine set up is for just kind of the standard going down with the system. You can have it installed to do kind of a floating tremolo system. He also walks through that as well. I haven't done it myself, so I don't have an opinion on it. In the video, he does basically say it's not very stable, but I think that's also the case with most kind of floating trem systems anyway. So that's something, you'll have to look into for yourself if that's something you're wanting. But for what I use it for, which is more like Van Halen kind of, again, the dive bombs kind of situation, it does pretty much everything I need it to do. High pitch harmonics, chords, notes, and you can, kind of hear it yourself. It goes back to what I have it tuned to pretty seamlessly. One thing to note is because it is capable of doing a floating trem system, there is a little screw here. Let me see if I can kind of point it out. Right here, this is what the tremolo system rests on. You can screw it down so you do get that floating trem system. And this is one of the drawbacks to it, is because of that, after using the system a few times, that screw will start to kind of like screw back into the platform here. You can glue it and basically keep it the same height. I leave it open because I also use it to help with tuning, but that's not always the most ideal. But specifically because I do have the D-Tuna, which I'll get to in a second, I do need a little bit more flexibility when it comes to fine tuning. But that's another thing too, is all of the fine tuners here, they work great, they do what they need to do. If you've not used a Floyd Rose system before, you're gonna wanna tune up here, probably tune a little bit flat is what I recommend. You screw in the locking nut here and then adjust it to the exact tuning up here at the fine tuners. You'll be good to go. You'll be all set there. With the D-Tuna, you can put the D-Tuna on the Floyd Rose FRX, from what I understand, and I've never owned a guitar with a traditional Floyd Rose built into it. So I assume the setup is pretty much the same because I looked at when I installed this for myself. I watched a video doing the install with a traditional Floyd Rose, and the install from what I remember was pretty much the same. But I mean, all it is you're gonna remove the original screw in the back, pop this out, and then you're going to screw the D-Tuna back into that spot. And I've had it set up like this for over 2 years. It works the way it's supposed to work. I'll give you a little demo here. So I'm gonna pop out the D-Tuna. And adjust it just a little bit. All right, let's give it a try. There you go. Does exactly what it needs to do pretty seamlessly. It's very helpful, especially when I'm doing the live streams. I would highly recommend doing it if you're going to get the FRX system. I mean, yeah, it's going to be another like $40-50, but I think the amount of hassle it's going to save is going to be extremely helpful, and the fact that it works just makes it, you know, even better. But yes, it 100% works. It does what it needs to do. But kind of overall, my opinions, my thoughts on it. If you love your Gibson or Epiphone guitar and you're like, man, I just don't see myself using another guitar, but I also wish I had a tremolo system on it, this is for you. This is what you need to get. I know there are some other brands that do similar stuff out there, but they're much more expensive. But that being said, the Floyd Rose FRX is nothing to sneeze at either. This one right here, which is their chrome one, goes for about $289, basically $290. And depending on the color that you get, I mean, it can be $300, $350 plus. They can really get even pricier from there, again, depending on the metal that you buy it as. But that being said, it is cheaper than some of the other options out there as well. It does what it needs to do, and in my opinion, it does it pretty well. I've not had any significant problem. The worst problem I've had with it is, again, this little screw here that occasionally will start going down after use, but it's really not going to do that unless you're playing for a long extended period of time. Is something to consider. You may want to glue it yourself to keep that screw in spot, but otherwise I've not had any kind of significant problem with it that I would say to not get it. But it is an investment, and it is a permanent investment in the guitar if you're going to install the locking nut here at the headstock. I did have someone recently ask me about locking tuners. I don't have any experience with those, but having the locking nut on there, it definitely helps. I really don't have any. Once it's all tuned up, it's all ready to go, all the fine tuners are done, it pretty much stays in tuning, and I don't have any problems with it. But hey, thank you so much guys for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Leave me a comment down below if there's anything in here that I didn't touch on that maybe you're like, hey, but what about this, or what do you recommend if this happens? Let me know, and I will respond in the comments. But yeah, be sure to like the video, to comment, to subscribe. That always helps. And I will, hopefully we'll start doing more kind of videos like this here in the near future. Don't forget, I also do live streams on TikTok. Be sure to check those out as well. But without further ado, hey, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time.